Hey guys, so welcome to another episode of Own Your Money with Malipedi M here on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube, guys. Yeah, you can go check us out there. So today, retrenched. Guys, it's a little right, take a lockdown. It's a little sharp. Like financially, are you well? Cause woo! The rest of us, we're feeling the effects of corona. We're feeling the effects of this pandemic. Guys, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for them scientists or whoever who's working on the vaccine or the cure. Guys, hurry up. Like, Rafaela. So today I want us to talk about a very important thing, a very important aspect of paying yourself first as well, because I mean, pay yourself first is like an umbrella, and then there are other things under that umbrella that you can do to pay yourself first. Also, do not judge my nails. I haven't been to to the salon to do my nails. I haven't been to the salon to do my hair. So you're getting all of this. I woke up like this, kind of rough person, okay? So yeah, that is out of the way. So so now, guys, here's the thing. I was actually thinking, because a lot of people have lost their jobs, a lot of people have lost their ability to make income, to get income. They have lost their businesses. Businesses have closed down. I mean, some other businesses are like big businesses, but they're like, after this lockdown, we are not reopening our doors. And you're like, oh my gosh. So people who have already been struggling, this thing has affected them the most. And they're vulnerable people of our society. And I mean, if you have a 9-to-5 job, babes, you're vulnerable. There's no other way to put it. If you're not a millionaire in this season, baby girl, you're vulnerable. So I want us to talk about emergency fund today, because if you are going to be retrenched, if you lose your job, at some point you need to think about having an emergency fund for things that you have never foreseen. You could never foresee. You know what I mean? So, for example, in my life right now, currently, this is the current mood. So, end of April, our boss paid us our full salaries, and we're like, yay. And most of you know that I'm a quantity surveyor, so I make my income by going to site and actually doing valuations on construction sites, active construction sites. But now, during lockdown period, the construction sites were closed, so girl was working from home, and I guess I was doing half the job that I'm supposed to be doing, right? So end of April, we get our full salaries. We're happy. Just then, when you're about to get in the mood of I got paid, there was a message that said, hey guys, end of May, you're not getting full salaries. We are all getting salary cuts. It's going to be 50% of your gross income. And I started thinking, oh my God, Uncle Murphy has just, like, he has just knocked on my door. You know that law that says all that can go wrong will go wrong. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I got into this big panic mode, and I'm like, geez, this is an emergency. So girl, you need to adjust your budget. You need to make sure that your expenses this month are not even in the budget. You need to like tweak your budget to the point where this budget is not a budget anymore. It's like a line, like it doesn't go up. No. It's just like that. So yeah, basically that's what I'm going through. So end of May, your girl is getting half her normal salary. So I had to think about this concept of emergency fund, because I made a post here on Facebook that about emergency funds, like, are we ready for emergencies? and people didn't seem to understand what emergencies were. And I made an example by suddenly losing your job. You suddenly losing your job is an emergency, so you must have a stash somewhere to cater for that. Okay, so your geyser, let's say your geyser just bursts and it's about winter, guys, and you need hot water, so you will need to call a plumber to come fix your geyser. That is an emergency. You were not expecting that. But an unexpected pregnancy, it's not an emergency, because you have 9 months to prepare for that child. You have 9 months to readjust and reallocate your money to suit the child. And another thing that I spoke about was my cousin last year in December. I remember at her child's school, they said she must pay school fees for January or the first quarter. I don't remember, but in December, guys. And they're like, no, you must pay before the 10th of December, something crazy like that. And she had to find money, guys, to pay, because they were not going to let the child come to school in Jan without school fees having been paid. So that is not an emergency. That is actually a whole year to prepare for next year. You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is that emergency fund is very important. It is very important for you to have an emergency fund. So here, let's get into it. Like, what is an emergency? An emergency, guys, is something that you couldn't have foreseen. It's something that, it's an accident. It just happens. You were not there. You didn't know. This thing just happens, and you're struggling and you're grappling with your finances, and it's tough. So what we need to do is to have an emergency fund, a stash somewhere that is kept only for emergencies. Guys, your car needing a new tire, that is not an emergency. You know for a fact that your car is going to need a service, your car is going to need petrol, your car is going to need new tires. That is not an emergency. So you should actually know what your car needs, and you should actually know that you're saving this amount of money towards your car. Should your car need something, you're saving this amount of money. Emergencies are, say, an accident. You're involved in an accident and your medical aid does not pay for everything, you know, that excess that you always have to pay. So you're able to go to your emergencies and pay that. So I have been reading and I've been studying this concept of emergency fund, and I've realized that a lot of people talk about you having to save 3 months worth of your expenses. 3 months worth of your expenses. Yeah, there's another book where I read and they're like, you have to save 3 months worth of your salary. I was like, okay, you can do it, right? It is possible, you can do it, but I lean more towards what they call 3 months worth of expenses, and that is actually a shallow emergency fund, because a strong emergency fund is when you have 6 months worth of expenses. Like, you have money that is just sitting there waiting for an emergency. Should you get a job cut, should you lose your job, you know that your expenses for the next 6 months are actually covered. So in my case right now, I do have an emergency fund. I have a 3 months worth of my expenses kind of emergency fund. In fact, I have, if we're transparent, I have 20,000 rand, and that I call it an emergency fund for 3 months. But I know that in a month, my expenses would, after moving out of my hectically expensive apartment, my expenses have now went down to like 5,000 rand per month. That is, so my emergency fund can take me to 4 months. But when push comes to shove, I can stretch that money to get me to 6 months. So what I didn't do now is for me to actually go deep into my emergency fund. I didn't do that because I had my salary to work around my budget, my April budget. So I shifted money around because a budget is not man of steel. You can change it. You can do whatever you want with the budget for as long as you're still living within your means, right? So I took money that was supposed to pay for something, and I'm like, no, I don't need to pay for this thing. I don't need to buy this thing. It was something nice to have. Like, it's a camera that I want to buy for these videos, you know, and stop using my phone. But I'm like, I'm going through this right now, so you're gonna watch this phone video situation, okay, until I buy a camera. So I took that money and I put it in a bank account that I don't have access to. It's waiting there for the whole of my expenses in June. That is actually going to cover my expenses in June. So the salary that I'm going to get end of May, I know for a fact it's already committed. Guys, can I lead society? Can I lead stock fail? Like, it's already committed. So I need to make sure that that money is paying for the stock fair, the salary, the society and insurances. I know it's already spoken for. It also has to contribute towards my retirement annuity. So I was like, I won't have much left for expenses. So I need to make sure that this month I don't spend all my money on whatever it is that I feel like I need to spend it on. No. So that I don't dip into my emergency fund, because I feel like it's an emergency, but it's not that strong of an emergency because I was given a warning, a full month's warning to say, hey, know that at the end of May, we're going to cut your salary. So what do you do now with the amount of money that you have? You swap it around, you work around it. You don't sit and cry and be like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? No. And another thing is, I don't particularly have debts, so it's a simpler. My budget is very simple. My budget is very straightforward. I will make a video with a budget and how to do a budget and all types of budgets, and the budget that I actually use, the method that I actually use for my budget. So basically, I have a solid 5,000 rand sitting in a bank somewhere where I'm not going to be able to access it until I need it end of June. No, not end of June. Beginning of June. Yes, that's when I'm going to need it. So guys, this is very important. Your savings are for particular goals. I know a lot of people have commented and they said, no, but I have savings. Your savings must have a goal. Any kind of saving that you do must have a goal. Either you're saving towards buying a car, you're saving towards paying for a wedding, which we need to talk about, guys. Weddings are very expensive. Ooh, we need to talk about weddings. Woo! The wedding. Really the guest. Why is it really the guest, fella? Yes. No, this is expensive. Yeah, but now your savings must have a goal in mind. For example, most of my savings, for me, they have a goal of traveling. I love traveling. I would love to travel once this lockdown is over, and I would love to do what I want to do. So my savings always have a goal of traveling. They have a goal of paying for my fees. They have a goal of doing this. So savings are spoken for. You must save towards something. You don't just put money in the bank and you're like, you're saving for what, my darling? You see, when it's not committed, then you're going to skip another month and say, no, I am not saving this month because I already have savings. Savings must have a goal. You must know what you're saving for. You must actually use the principle that they call grow for it. Like, you're growing towards this thing. Grow for it. Okay. So for me, right now, my savings, they have a goal. Emergency fund it's there, but I am not using it for this time. I am using my salary to work around the salary cut, the pay cut that I'm getting. So I just want to know in the comments, guys, how has the lockdown affected you, or how has this pandemic affected you financially? Because for me, it guys, it took a knock. So I really want to know how it has affected you and the ability to make income, because I also sell perfume, and because of this lockdown I could not move, I could not sell, I could not push my side hustle, which means we need to find other side hustles that are not affected by our movements. You know what I mean? Like, you can do your side hustle in your house, like in the comfort of your home. Then you're side hustling. We're also going to talk about such things like you need to get a side hustle. You can't just depend on your salary. I mean, they took their 50%. So you really cannot just depend on your salary. You need to make sure that your money covers you. It has to work for you. You know what I mean? It has to pay you. So you need to also be able to do certain things on the side. I mean, you're not a robot. You can maximize yourself, diversify. You know what I mean? Diversify and get income from here and from there in order for you to be a little bit comfortable. Guys, money does buy comfort, okay? A little bit comfortable and a little bit stable. I hope you guys are not being retrenched. I really pray that you're not being retrenched. I think a salary cut is still better than having no job at all, because at the same time, companies are not employing anyone at this time. I mean, I was going through the internet, there's nothing, there are no posts, and the posts that are there is like 10 years. I don't have 10 years working experience, so what must I do? And I really want to apologize, guys, because this video is very long. I'm sorry, I got carried away because I am talking about something that is actually happening currently right now. So yeah, I hope you guys start having an emergency fund that is going to fund your emergencies. Listen, only for emergencies. It's not buying you your McDonald's or your KFC because now you're hungry and you don't have money in your other account. No, this one is only for emergencies. You don't play with emergency money. And after you use your emergency money, you have to work hard to replace it. There are people who don't replace their emergency money. Like, guys, you need to replace it. Like, yeah. Okay. Okay, guys. Bye.